We're in Wyoming, y'all. An amazing chicken system there. Meat birds, only 3 ingredients in their feed, no walls on that trailer, housed and sheltered underneath the trailer, guarded by a guard dog, moved every day with an old tractor. "8:25 in the evening. We're at today's farm feature in Wyoming. Beautiful Wyoming. You see this? Beautiful. Checking out these cows. This is what we're gonna do tomorrow. We're gonna move in the cows from pasture, move twice a day, move them down a lane. Here they come back from getting their water. Move them in and milk them. That's tomorrow. You're gonna have to watch tomorrow to see that. But just before we came out here to see the cows, we moved the chickens. You gotta see this chicken system. It's absolutely amazing. No walls, no walls. Who knew? Right now we're gonna feed the Cornish cross, the broilers.
This is our mix. I do have corn in it right now, and then wheat are my 2 grains that we grind up with it, and all the green is the hay. And so it's a mix we've done up, and we've found that we can raise the broilers on it. We raise them a lot slower. I usually take about 14 weeks to get them to the right weight that I like to do them. And I tend to raise a bigger bird. I like them 4.5 pounds as opposed to a 2-pound broiler. I want to eat 3 meals instead of 1. Why waste the time? My name is Sonia Becker, and I'm at Becker Family Stock Farm in Ingenious, Wyoming. I'm 3rd generation on this piece of land and 4th in the valley.
What are we doing right now?
We're going to feed these little broilers some homemade chicken feed. Then we're going to move their wagon so they have a clean place to be tomorrow and to sleep tonight. Yeah? You want to ride it? Well, you're going to have to all come on the inside if you want to ride, and we'll move it forward and you guys can have a ride in the wagon. You don't get to go very far.
A question that we get a whole lot is like, I have to have the certain mix for my food, but it sounds like you don't feel that way. Like you feel like you kind of like what you can get your hands on.
I don't go and get a mixed ration run by a nutritionist. No, I don't. And I figured that one of the biggest advantages I have is if I put them out on pasture, they're gonna get what they need. You know, the bugs that they can get and harvest, they're gonna make that mix up what they need. And you know, there's alfalfa in the grass, so they can come up with any combination of feed that they need. And this I start them out with this from the day old chicks, and they grow. So I figure, you know, even though I haven't spent as much time, I mean, my dad showed me some of the mixed ration and you do and how you figure it all up and whatnot. And so we started out with something sort of based on that, but yeah, we mostly base it on what we can get our hands on because
and you don't worry.
It's different. No.
And it works out.
And it works out, yeah.
Okay.
You can spend a lot of time and energy or feel like you have to go buy a commercial product that are so expensive. I couldn't do this if I had to buy commercial food. No way I could do this.
So that's how you make it cost effective.
Yep.
By
doing what I have available.
Okay. And obviously it works.
Wait a minute. Where's their house?
Where's their house?
Yeah, where's their house?
That's their house.
There's no walls under there.
No, there's no walls, there's no protection, there's no fence, there's nothing. I have a dog that comes out and most of the time she protects them. We did get a coon in not too long ago and lost some birds. But usually she guards the chickens and we leave them out. We don't lose them to hawks or anything like that with the dogs.
Nice tractor.
Thank you. It's been here a day or two. We'll give it a second go and it'll start. Oh, it's gonna make a liar out of me today.
Close.
every day, twice a day, and then the day you put it on camera.
That's it?
That's it. Not very far. Just enough to give them fresh grass and a fresh, clean place to sleep.
Okay, run over this system for us real quick, from water to feed to shelter.
The wagon.
Yep.
So we put the 55-gallon drums on a drip system so that the water we can move these in with the bobcat and drop them down in here. And then they've all got the dripper systems on them so the birds can water free will, and it's nice and clean and you don't have all the contaminants and stuff. I used to use the waters that you set on the ground, and we'd have to bring water out and fill them all up and move them, and they get nasty, filthy, dirty. This system works so much better. It's so nice. We just change out the barrels when they get empty. This is a dumpster that we use to store the feed in, as well as the garbage cans, so we can fill the whole thing up so that the whole season we can pretty much go around and do the whole season without having to refill on our grains. This is a hay wagon that we use to feed the cows during the winter time. We put the round bales in here, and during the summertime it works as our feeder for the chickens. So we can carry the food, we can carry the water, and they can go underneath. They don't have any perch to roost on, but generally the broilers get so big they can't get up on a roost too much anyway. And then on the other side we again have a drip system so that they can come in and drink, and then we feed them on the ground and allow them to pick through the feed and use what they want of it, and then they run free and get the bugs and all the goodies and any other grass or alfalfa leaves or whatever they want, and then we just move it every morning and every night.
What made you think of this idea? I mean, what made you think, wait a minute, do chickens really need walls?
I started out with everybody else with the thinking that you needed to put a pen around your chickens, and I tried to use netting and I tried all that, trying to move it, trying to keep the grass down so that it works, trying to keep electric hot enough, trying to keep the chickens out of it. That's what bothered me the most, is I'd get a chicken with its head stuck in the netting. That's not nice. And I had a couple of dogs here early on, my first dogs, and they just patrolled the whole area. And I would see foxes going along outside of their patrol area, and they'd let them go by. But they wouldn't let anything into the patrolled area. And so I just said, well, let's just see what happens. And we turned them loose, and the dogs kept the predators at bay, and we raised the chickens that way. And so we've been doing that for about 4 years now.
Would you recommend this system for others? Or are you just a special case?
You know, people are starting to use more livestock guarding dogs. They really are to do this, and so I think it can be done. If you've got a good dog that will stick with your birds and you can train them to be with your birds, then yeah, it works, and it's a lot better to me. They get, they told me when I first started getting these broilers that they wouldn't go, more than 10 or 15 feet, and in past years I've had them, all the way across the meadows, and they will run, they will build up, they will be more like a chicken instead of like a food here, water here, and never move kind of bird if they have the opportunity. And so I like raising them better that way.
What does it feel like for you to know that you have such heritage here? So many generations have farmed this land that you're standing on and farming currently.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it gives you goosebumps when you think about it too much. And that's a lot of the reason why I do the woofing and I bring people out and I try to get people to come out here, is because this is an opportunity that I couldn't have had if I'd had to buy this land, but the fact that previous generations were able to put it together and make it a property that I could come to and start my own farming on, I want to share that with other people. I want to let other people come and spend time here and experience it. I've had so many woofers and stuff come in and say, my grandmother used to have a farm, or my aunt and uncle used to have a farm, and they're tired of the food system. They're tired, a lot of them have quit eating meat until they come to the farm, and then they eat meat again. Yeah. And so having the property and the place where I can do that because of the work that my grandparents and everybody put in. I mean, my grandma was born in the next drainage over. My dad was born here in town. I was born elsewhere, but because my dad was in the military, Hackett was born here. So it's a real joy to have that long-term, long-term relationship with the land, and to
Yeah.
know that, you know, all the junk piles, I know who brought them here. I know where the stuff came from. You know, it's just it's a real rewarding thing. And you know, my grandparents pretty much did organic.
Yeah.
They didn't
Yeah.
put a lot of stuff on the land. My dad was organic mostly. But they raised an organic garden, and they raised their cows on without putting a lot of stuff on the pastures. But they did use growth hormones, and they were still caught up in the conventional system. And I found that I can do it here without
Any of
doing all
that.
that. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
And it's a real joy to see that the land can, if you take care of the land will take care
Yes.
of you. It really will.
I was actually driving along that highway. My phone was telling me to go 3 more miles, but I looked over here and I saw these strands of electric, and I saw the cow, and I saw the beautiful grass here. I mean, everybody's doing beef, but the land is barren. It's overgrazed, it's continually grazed, and therefore it's degrading. But here, it was green, and I knew something was different. And I was so busy getting caught up and admiring that I passed right by, and you were out waving. I didn't even see you.
I should have been at the head of the driveway, and then you caught me.
And Rebecca's iPhone, though, was different. And it said to turn, but we didn't communicate that. Turned around, came back. But that wasn't all of our day. Before the chickens, we had arrived to Thermopolis, Wyoming, near where we are now, early at 3 o'clock. Dinner wasn't going to be till 7. There were some hot springs. I think a side theme of this tour is to explore these hot springs. One, it's nice and warm and relaxes you after a stressful day of driving. 2, there's minerals in these water that are good for you. So look, we went and enjoyed those. We're walking in a lane system right now, but the cows are out on pasture over there. She's moving them twice a day because this is a dairy. She's milking twice a day, I imagine, right? And What about water? Well, in this situation, she has one source of water, and they always have a lane back to their water. Even though it's pretty far, they always go back. Before the hot springs, remember, the journey is the destination. Boy, we had an amazing drive. Which way out of here, Beck?
Left. Go left.
Okay.
I think. Well, could you go right?
I can't go right.
Okay, go left.
All these people coming in here for the eclipse. The eclipse is Monday. We're not going to be in the full eclipse. We're going to be in Montana. We'll see a partial eclipse, but we ain't going to contend with the millions of people coming down to the eclipse line. It's going to be crazy. And what if it rains and it's cloudy? You think I can turn right here to get out of this place? Look at this little lane. Now, there's a lot of water right there. They only get 12 inches of rain here a year. So where's all this water come from?
This year we got 200% of normal snowfall in the mountains above us, and so that water is coming down and we're able to use it.
Good. That was our day. Tomorrow, bringing these cows in, gonna milk them. It's gonna be a good day, another travel day after that. Heading to Yellowstone. If you guys are interested in more interesting mobile chicken systems, remember when we went to Full Circle Farm? That little girl, how old was that girl that drove that truck? 12 years old, she was driving that truck. If you're new to this channel and you haven't seen some of our earlier Great American Farm Tours, you want to check that out. 12-year-old driving a truck, Eggmobile, good stuff.